Hello, Piggy Eyes. Hello, J. J. Mizak and Mickey Davis. Oh, Fluffy, how you going? Long time no see. Yes, a little bit of whale music at the beginning, eh? I didn't know I was going to do that. I know now. Well, I hope I find you all well, and I hope that everything's so good. Let me just check this chat to make sure everything's good. All messages. Yep. Otherwise, YouTube gets a bit funny and no messages get through. So, here we are, the Archangel Michaels live. Well, what was I going to do? Well, the Lord's Prayer, as usual. We've got what we've seen going through this week. Well, isn't that something? Naomi Campbell. Bench warrant for her arrest. How about that? Those cards are falling. The same ones that Jack's been talking about since I've been hearing about her talking about them for years. Not actually been part for a year, and a bit more. And she hasn't been wrong yet. Everything's coming true for these people. They're not going this way. They look funny. They got a smile, but he's a troll nonetheless. Trolls are trolls, especially if they've been doing what, everyone's talking about them doing. Partaking in the eating of human flesh. Well, that will remain to be seen. We all have our suspicions. We all might have our little insider knowledge too, but without hard, concrete evidence, we've got nothing, unfortunately. So let's get the main thing done, the Lord's Prayer, eh? And then we can get on with the day or the night, wherever you may be. I hope you can hear me clear enough. I got the speaker like this here. Right. Here we go. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but to deliver us from evil. Hail Mary, full of grace. Amen. And now you have God in your day, in your night, whoever you are on this glorious earth. And it is glorious, although we do try to rearrange it for some reason. The human race needs to learn. There's other things that live on this world, and it's called life. We've been looking out there, and we don't really find life out there. We've got our suspicions. There could be these aliens, these Alpha Draconians. Who knows? Who knows? This guy knows. He sure does. What can I say? Dragons are real. And they really are. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but it is true nonetheless. That's just the way it is. I can't help that. First time I ever saw, I was 7 years old. My younger brother was 5. My older brother, he was 13, because he's 5 years older than me. I think, something like that in here, whatever he was. And anyways, we're driving across the Nullarbor Plain, just left out of Norseman after we fueled up, going about 140 k's out. Now, Mum, she was driving the car, and Dad was having a bit of a rest. And my mum, she's Greek, and she's never really gone across the outback like that before. And She said, "Oh, Splinter," because that's the nickname that she had for my father. I didn't know there was crocodiles out here. And he woke up. "What bloody crocodiles? There's no crocodiles out here, you silly woman." He looked out there, but that is a big lizard. Now, we was in an old Ford Falcon cruising across. Pretty large car. Old them Fords are very roomy. We're cruising across the old brown one with the bloody white top flying across. And the roads back then were not as wide and as graded as they are now. You had the roads where if the oncoming truck was coming, you'd probably have to get half on, half off on the gravel so he can get through. That's just common courtesy. Two cars could probably just pass each other. But to be safe, you used to just give that each other. Now it's all proper graded. So this is back when it was a little bit shorter. So the basic normal road of a street. And this lizard covered the whole thing. And it wasn't standing any height like you would see a Komodo dragon. No, it would dwarf that, about 5 times the size of that. Would have grabbed one of them and shook it around like that was a little lizard. And my old man, being knowledgeable about that stuff out there, he says, "What are you doing out?" He pulled up by the side of it because it walked off the side of the road. It was eating a dead kangaroo. And it was walked off the side of the road and it was just straight up, and his head was way above the car looking down. And it wasn't like he was standing on the car. No, he was just standing on all fours looking back at us with his tail going like that. It was a huge thing. Now, being kids, me and my younger brother, well, my older brother was a bit older. He was a bit wary. He was sitting in, so he just froze. He's like that. He was like that with creatures like that. But me and my younger brother, we were sort of wild, and that made us, raised us that way, sort of thing. So we were fearless. We didn't fear it. No, we just, wow, it's a big creature. We always was told there was such things, and there's one here. And the old man says, "What are you doing out?" Because he thought it was a certain one. But then it picked his tongue out, and it was a big, long, forked tongue. He said, "Oh, you're not the one. You're not the one. So what are you doing out? That must be one of those bears." And I said, "Dad, why don't you get out and hit him with the tire lever?" He said, "Son," he said, "don't be ridiculous. If I hit that, it'll bounce off and kill me." You know? I said, "It was big enough for us to ride on it, or all of us in it." That's no joke. And the way my father said, "No, we leave that one because that one's supposed to feed the whole of Kalgoorlie." Now that's about 3,000 people, maybe more. Actual tribe. That's a lot of people to feed from one big giant lizard, and it was huge. There's 4 of them along there, along Nullarbor Plain. 4 spears. And I was privileged to see one as a young child. And later on, as went, because we were so young, and as you get older, sometimes you forget stuff. But I never forgot that. And neither did my younger brother, and he was only 5. Unfortunately, my older brother is no longer with us no more. He decided he wanted to check out early. So, yeah, he got his own problems to deal with in purgatory. But you get that. You get that. Anyways, so we started driving off because he said, "Oh, you better start going now, Tula," because my mum, being Greek, Tula is short for her full name, Theodula. So Tula, "You better go, Tula, because he's got the taste for these kids now." And he would have just gulped us like gulp, like eating rabbits. You ever watch a documentary? Well, my guitar just played its strings 5 feet away from me. So he just went, they just strum, dring, okay. There you go. That's crazy. No, you've got to think about that. What's that? Is that a sign, an entity, an energy, or is there a vibration in the building where you are and it's picking up on something through the ground? Things are very sensitive. You've got to be logical some ways. some ways, but we do know, as you said. Well, you know, coincidence? Just so happened to happen at the same time? Well, no, freaky things like that, they're not supposed to go bump in the night, and they do. They often do around here. I get up and I find out to see if a stray dog trying to get around into my dogs at the back, because they're just like, I don't know, trying to get their food because they're starving. Some of these dogs running around. Or some other type of two-legged dog trying to get around and see what he can pinch. Well, they don't often come around here. I hear them walk past a lot, but they don't often come around here because they know they're low likely to get robbed if they come here. Sorry about that. Oh, it's like, I look like the spider's caught himself a couple of flies. No, puts the lotion on the skin. Otherwise it gets the hose again. No, I'm not that cruel. Not that cruel. I just go out and usually piss them off. Not many people go out nowadays. They're frightened. And they're true to be so. When you've got these guys walking around fueled up with that much ice that they might as well be skating in Antarctica in their system, and they're high as a kite. But something about that amphetamines, it mimics Popeye taking spinach. Did you know that? And they did used to use that back in the war when Popeye was invented. And he used to get the spinach, and they give him that 3-minute rush where he's got superhuman strength, and even his eyes and pupils widen up. He got 3 minutes. Well, when you go and check the stats out scientifically about amphetamines, when you do have a shot or a snort, or whichever way you have it, to smoke it, which is the ice, it's a poor man's crack, really. And and cracks the poor man's cocaine. So how's that working? But anyways, the Simpsons told you it was coming. Old Rainier Wolfcastle, when he burst out of that day, nice to see you. We've invented something that's 10 times more addictive than marijuana. We call it swank. That was the first name of speed. And then it became, as we have it now, ice. Used to go on through a process. Once it was a snort or a drink, then it was an injection, and now they've turned it like it's crack rock, and they smoke it. And that's the process. And like I might have, anyone caught in old Dell's or Jag's chat, I can't remember which one now because I'm so bloody confused half the time. I remember saying that the pink stuff, any pink stuff on the market, that's police. They put that pink dye in it so they can trace to see where it goes. And they know when that pink stuff comes up, they know that's theirs. That's a fact. It's like the first version when they slipped over from that amphetamine to speed, which people was using it to inject, which is a bad thing. And there used to be needles everywhere. It's crazy. That's died right off because now everyone's on the glass pipe. And the police was the ones that created that, put that on the market. It was called pink champagne. It was 3 times more stronger than all the speed that people were having on the streets. You only had to have the tiniest little bit to get right off your head. And people, and that was created by the police, manufactured and distributed by them to see how far it could actually travel. Because they got spies all through the network. And that's how they do it. You've got to remember, the government, they're the biggest weapons traders in the world. Also the biggest drugs traders in the world because they approve all the pharmaceuticals. Especially in this country, they approve all the benefits where they subsidize and instead of paying $50 for a vial or something, we're only paying $4.90. or something stupid like that. Do things other than water and funeral homes if you really want to make money in this world, because everyone's going to want to drink, and you always got people passing away, so it's a business that's never really going to go away. Okay? That's two things you can invest into. But the other two things, if you really want to run the world, there's two things. And that's not governments. No, not governments at all. Governments can't run without these two things either. Pharmaceutical companies and advertisement companies. You own them, you own the world. You could say what you want, people will believe it. Then you can make what you want, and people will take it. You go to the doctor, only there's people going to see the psych, which really, when you go to university, you find out that's all a lot of horseshit. The psych's just as silly as you walking in there, it's just he's got a bit more of a clarity of a mind. It's a fucking, it's a touchy science. I know it's certain chemicals work. Yeah, doing what? All it does is block the natural processes of the brain. Sometimes people do need it, and they're clear ones you can see. One of these things that we get drugs for is just expensive urine. And you can find that out from a pharmacist that's actually honest. And I used to work in the removalist company. So I used to move a lot of those young ones that just finished university. And there's one young Japanese lady, she spoke English very well, but she was going back home, and she was packing her stuff up for her, and she said, "Oh yes, guys, I'll show you." She even brought out the files. It's just expensive urine, and we was looking at each other thinking, shit, all that stuff that the old girl and that were feeding us from the kids, the vitamin C's and that, really just nice tasting orange stuff. And comes out straight away. Your body naturally generates a lot of your chemicals you need to get the balance. And you get that through natural eating, through vegetables. I mean, look at the shit that we're eating. Look what they're doing to the American food. The Jabberwockies are great dancers. Oh, yeah. Accent is crazy mixed. Yes, it's all over the place. You look like a Jabberwocky who was going fishing on the desert. Well, I could be. The Jabberwocky, hey? The Jabberwocky, the real Jabberwocky, is your worst nightmare. You got to think about that. If she's a girl that's fallen down a hole and she's taking all these uppers and downers, inners and outers, all these drugs, high as a kite, seeing cats talking, funny men with hats, rabbits, all kinds of stuff, What could your freaked out, trippy mind come up with? And that's why it came up with the name Jabberwocky. Could be anything. Think your worst nightmare, that'll be your Jabberwocky. If you want to be Alice, you want to immerse yourself in what that story is all about, everyone faces their own Jabberwockies. I just happen to face a few real ones. I say to like Chloe, Roma, who I was just talking to before. Funny, that girl. She really is. Taking the piss out of Andrew Wilson and that, in that whatever chat with Brian. I find that quite fun. Yes, like she reckons, Everyone's got their demons. And like she likes listening to me because my demons are real. And they're the main guys that you read about in your Bibles and all your worst stories and nightmares and movies. I see them, deal with them for real. I got the only evidence outside of the Secrets Act that's, proves that dragons are real. I must have woke up dazed and confused. Yes, well, everyone eats to their own. I'm not saying everyone to believe me, but to give a bit of a listen to what I'm saying. That's why I don't like this visual aids. I'll get there eventually, the visual aids and all the stuff everyone has on the computers, because it all looks fine and dandy and like the news. But really, you've got to go and research it for yourself. And that way you actually feel like you've discovered something and you learn better. Our learning process is failing us. We learn a little bit of shit and hype, and we go on to the next one. And they just keep clicking you over. And it's hard to keep thinking, and you end up finding yourself fatigued, and all you're doing is sitting online. Isn't that crazy? I'm not online all the time. I'd like to be, but I can't. Unfortunately, but then I'll be trapped in like they want us, like the Matrix, trapped in this little cube all the time. And you really can't do that. Yes, how you going, Odell? Long time. No see into my chat. Only a few times. Well, yes, like I said, this modern technology and this AI that we're going to be facing, well, what we're facing now, the way I see it when I go on to, I don't know about everyone else's YouTube go through channels, because they run the algorithm to what you like, see, and I go through a whole lot of strange stuff that none of the family had even watched. So they could put anything up on my algorithm, on my ads and that. So yeah, I get some strange stuff. But lately, a lot of these younger content creators that are coming up, they're seeing all about how Jag was saying things, all about how I've helped her and Auntie Lee that for the last year, try and push that message out. No, Jag's been screaming for years. She's the only one that's been awarded the Freedom Fighter Award that I've ever seen from the industry. I haven't heard of any others from the music industry getting such a prestigious award. It's pretty high. That's pretty high. For a citizen, that's as high as a Medal of Honor. You understand that? That's like if a soldier, an Australian soldier, did something honourable for American soldiers, you couldn't give us the Medal of Honor because we're not part of the American Army. That'd give you the honour of a Medal of Peace or something like that there, which is for civilians. And this is just as high. She was on that list. Biden, and that they could have, they could have done. Well, they could have done it. You've got to be on that list for a little while, They don't just slap you on. It's not just one of these deals where, let's put it this way. It's not one of these deals where Trump might chuck a bit of money some way and do this favor, because you didn't see Jag jumping up around like Nicki Minaj. That's the difference between a true freedom fighter and someone that gets paid. And they're just the same. They both know the same stuff. Isn't that strange? So I see it, Dala. Jag gets the raw deal all the bloody time, and it's not fair. And the way these billionaires are, and how you're seeing this footage of that Epstein's bloody, the one that helped him, one that only got $10 million, the brunette girl. She's not in jail. You seen the footage online? She's walking around somewhere, even with the brother. And I said, no, it can't be them, but it's identical. People have even got that footage now and run it through the AI. And whoever they got in jail is not the person that should be arrested. What's going on? And if that ever comes out, they've done that. That's going to be a big fall down. Hello, Tempa. Hello, Sagarville. Yeah, Jag was always right. Not all the time. That's the thing. She has been wrong a few times, and she's admitted it. That's the way I like Jag, because she admits when she has done mistakes. Everyone does. That's very truthful. Even I do. Look at my episode with the axe. Oh, gee. The good old days. When you could threaten someone and you wouldn't get in trouble. Now you just go, bah, and off, that's it. You get fucking chained up, locked up, fucking resist arrest. You know? You just don't have a chance sometimes in the real world. You don't have a chance. And that's another thing. I go to court tomorrow and deal with this little issue that I had before. Well, because they've been remanding it. See, trying to sequester police footage from the camera, pretty hard, you know. They don't want to release that because the truth will come out. It's a false arrest. They never disclosed why they was there. They just barged in the house and grabbed me and locked me up. It wasn't until they had done that then they said, some sort of was a public disturbance. And I still would not work out anywhere in my mind where this public disturbance come from, because they weren't clear where I had done this public disturbance. You know? So of course I fought for that. And that's when I might have resisted a bit. But when you're getting your hands twisted on a set of handcuffs you've never had on, and my hands have still got the marks on them, still got the scars on them. This bloody part here always hurts because it was right across the nerve there. The bastard. Where you going, Nick? Yes. Yeah, so I go to court tomorrow, I sit there in front of the judge and I go through the same bullshit again. See, because I use Aboriginal legal aid, a lawyer, and they're not really up to scratch half the time. Very slow, very slack. You know? That's just the way it is sometimes. I don't know why, but they are. And they shouldn't be like that, but they are. But I use them anyways, but I don't often follow what they say, because I know in a court of law, you can also speak for yourself. And that lawyer is there for what you want them to do, not what they say to do. You don't have to take their advice if you know your intuition. You know your stuff. Anyways, they're supposed to my lawyer is supposed to sequester the information, the footage. Never happened. The prosecutor rocked up there and they look at, we don't even have it in file. And the judge just looks at me and I said, can I have 6 weeks? And she said, no worries. Have a nice holiday, Mr. Akbar. But she's read all the statements and all that stuff. And there's some pretty juicy stuff in those statements. Nothing to do about what they're trying to do. But to get that. Yes, Mr. Jade is that. Been a long time no see. I was wondering about you. I thought, you must have given it up in Port Margaret. I'm just going to sit back quietly and make some money, play some games, stay out of it for a while. But here you are back. Crazy. And I don't even want to know what's going on, but I don't mean to pry, but from experience, especially with family members, if you ever have a rift, you want to try and patch it up as quickly as possible, because you just don't know whether you'll ever see them the next day. And that's the unfortunate lesson I learnt with my older brother, before he unalived himself with a rope and a tree, just up the road actually. No joke. Just up the road. About 3 or 4 houses up. They got the house there now. It was a vacant block with some trees in it. Was the house there before, dirt down. Yes, well, I even forget how many years ago that was now. Starting to lose the old memory. That's telling me I've got to start moving, or I lose too much of my memory and forget what I'm supposed to do, which I won't. That's drilled into me, that shit. I know about that life. Yep, Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't mean to push anyone into anything. That's just from self-experience. Because there'll come a time, like with me and my brother, we was having a bit of a fight. Oh, I don't really want to tell you why, because we'll just get into a whole twisted, bloody mess of all kinds of craziness. But anyways, we never touch that rift up, and just you get down in the future, and he's not around, and you think, gee, maybe I should have brought him that packet of tobacco, you know, when he was hard on his luck. Maybe that would have been the thing that turned it around. And then I also get other mates as well. I reckon, oh, gee, if I would have woke up when I seen that, that phone was ringing, maybe I could have talked to him before he did what he did. And that was my mate Alan, because Ricky was working for him at the time. So, unfortunately, that's how it went. But he's gone now, and he chose to take the bloody easy ticket out, really. No, he happens to go to JJS, put all the things in. You got that, no worries. You don't have to ask about that, Nick. Anyone does some odd, if you want to run some ads, do so. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. One thing that I know that my channel is good for those not monetized, which I hopefully eventually will get there, but it's not really the idea, is that I can flood the shit with my shorts. I got a lot of views over a lot of videos, but I get the views, and I really put my mind to it and work out what's the popular thing, because it's a popular thing. What I do is it's a popular thing for the week. You can't retrade it next week, otherwise people just won't watch it, And everything that I do, there's a code. I know the code because I'm the one doing it. And if I sat down and went through every single short, like a storybook, you yourselves will remember what Bobby was doing on that day. It's like little key things in it. Of course, we're not all armored up and doing flips and coming in with wings and that, but we are. On YouTube, we are. In Sparta, we are. It's like up in heaven. When you go up into heaven, everybody's beautiful. The best shape you could ever have been. Radiant and good. Free of sickness and all that. Well, I tried to give you a little bit of that in Sparta. And only the bad ones, only the bad ones get the big, bodies that are not so fit. Tell me about it. Yeah. Them rent payments. Yeah, well, I'm lucky I live here with my mother because it's cheap. And that's only because being a single dad and the kids, of course, it just got too hard. In Australia over here, they've only just raised the bloody interest rates again. So I was buying a house, of course, and I had a fair amount of it paid off, which is good. But then Kelly got the cancer, and we actually went backwards. And I actually had to use the equity I had in the house to try to get, these revolutionary tests they do, these studies and that they do, and we don't know whether they was given an actual drug or a bloody placebo, because you know how they do in the studies. We did 2 studies, and that was like, $56,000 plus each, plus all the travel, all the parking, and all that stuff as well, and the fuel. It all adds up, especially when you're not bloody privately insured. If she was privately insured, we could have been all right. I probably still would have had my house, and I wouldn't have to, borrow so much on it. So as time went on, and then when she passed away, well, I was just making ends meet, and then the bastards go and raise the interest rates 13 times in 15 weeks. Just like that, bang, 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 bang. And that just ruined me. Ruined me completely. Kids have got to eat. That's one of the main things. Pay the bills, pay the rent, make sure there's power, and then there's always the food. And the way I used to shop was basically the kids need the basic meals. They need all the snacks, all the stuff for schools and that. And because I'm an alright cook, it's not hard to make a lot from little. It's quite easy to do things if you know what to do. But yeah, shopping used to be like, well over a couple of hundred a week, every week. None of my other mates do that. Only one or two. And they're all right. They got their house and their missus and all that. No, my other mates, they won't go out shopping with that. They'll spend it all on drugs. And that's a fact. The St. Peter that you read about, he had an affliction. And he did not ask to be hung upside down. Guys, come on. Think about it. Think about it. They were hunting down these men that were with this guy Jesus. And when they strung Jesus up, oh, this shit happened. Frightened the shit out of him. Right? The Romans deliberately spun him around so he wouldn't ascend up like the other guy. He didn't ask for that. Oh, yes, I don't feel Jesus enough. Please nail me upside down. Okay, if you believe so, remember, it was the Romans that writ the basic running that we've got now. The Roman Catholics wrote the Christianity, and they didn't want to release that Bible, right, out to anybody except the hierarchy. Now, I forget the name of the writer. I'll get it up. I'll put this post up with this guy's name. But this is back in the 1400s. And he got that book and he translated it, not from Latin. It wasn't, because everything was done in Latin. And not many people could read Latin. In fact, not many people could read it all. Right? The best way to control everyone is to keep them dumb. The way you control the world is by the information. You control the information, you control the world. That's what the CIA tried to do. Right? That's what they tried to do. As simple as that. But yes, if you control that information, you control the world. You control it. And that's the way that is. Unfortunately. Yes. Well, we live in strange times, guys. We do. Whether you believe I'm Michael the Archangel or not, that's totally up to you. But I am. And I'm the only one that is going to actually send. So you've got to get used to it. And as a human, well, I'm subject to human things. Flaws and that. Something I have to learn as a man, apparently, to be able to do this task. It's very hard. Very hard in my mind. It's very fearful going out there in the Australian outback, even though really there's kind of nothing there. It's because of the vast expanse and the quietness sometimes. That's the scary part. It's like being in the deep water and you can't see the ground. You get that little euphoria and say, oh shit, the shark's going to eat me. Because I can't see the ground. That's what it's like out there. That's why you treat it like it's the deep ocean. In the dark depths. And you could be out there in a plane where you could see as far as the eye could see all around you. You sit there with your campfire, only to have a camel come up out of nowhere, right up to your campfire and make you shit your pants. That's just the way it is. It's very strange out there. Sometimes, you can hear the kangaroos coming. They call them boomers. You hear them going boom, 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 boom. When they come jumping, when they jump, they make a boom noise when they hit the ground, guys. And you can hear them hopping through the bush sometimes. Most of the times, especially the real big ones. And there's some really big ones out there. But there's also some other big creatures too. The only thing I really fear, there's two things I really fear out there in the outback. Coming across a wild razorback, because I've seen them the size of a bloody rhino. The muzzle being the razorback prop from the movie. That was crazy. So I know they get that big. That was up a bloody sandstone. up north, sandstone, getting into the gold country. Around there, they like to have a lot of goats, a lot of goat farmers around the sandstone area. And well, when I was driving along, I seen this massive, giant, razorback prop style pig eating this bloody dead goat that obviously, because they let them wander around. No fences out there, and the goats get out anyway. So yes, and I was cruising along, driving the bloody little 4.5 ton truck with the one-arm bloody teacher's ladies bloody stuff in the back. I'm driving along, and I'm looking. I said, "Nah, that's got to be a bloody bull." No, it got up, and I seen the two big tusks coming straight. Because usually they're a bit curled. These ones were bloody straight up. That's why I say to it like a rhino, because it was like two fucking rhino tusks, straight. So I haven't seen a pig like that. And then when I pulled up at the suckers and walked off the side of the road, I picked up whatever remaining of the goat was, chewing that because it was all rotten. And it only just starting to recede the water from the flood, see? So that's why he was close up to the road eating. And he went behind this big bush, and there's a massive bush there. And I'm driving past, and I didn't stop. Because he's the type of pig that if he really wanted to, he could hit that truck and pull it over onto his side. And have you ever seen the Razorback movie, when that girl's getting tore out of the car? Yeah, I don't want that to happen to me. No, getting eaten alive while you're screaming. Because that's what they will do. When you're going to see you on Aussie goat hunters, well, I know where to actually go for that. But they go seasonal. And they'll be going probably up there soon as it's a bit cooler, because they're not like me, they're not crazy. They walk around in the heat up there, because, well, you walk around up there, you won't really see anyone. No one's walking around in the heat up there in the summer. No, very rarely do you actually have them. That's the season where they usually don't go goat hunting. It's very hot, too hot. You get that hot if you don't have the right amount of water, the right amount of cover. Well, not only do you get burnt very quickly, but you can sap it right out of you. Even the most experienced man can walk out there, and if he hasn't got the right provisions, he might be dead within an hour. Depends on how hot it gets. Because everything's out there is stone. There's no real glass. You know what I'm saying? So everything radiates. And the trees are not like the trees you get close to the coast. They're a bit more shanty, and there's a part there, well, that's it. There's no more eucalypts or gum trees after that part in the western desert. There's just more shrub trees and mallee root and mallee trees. You know, yeah. And they don't have much shade. And if you know anything about the Australian bush, people say, oh, you see all these documentaries, they camp up near trees and that there. Well, I can tell you right now, when you're in Australia, you try to camp in the open, right? Not only to say you can see what's coming around you, right? Because if you camp up next to that tree, every goddamn spider that lives in the tree is going to come down onto your fucking tent, and it's going to, you're going to have a fun time, especially if you've got kids and a missus. Well, you got to think. Sometimes you can get up close if you need a windbreak or something like that, but you got to look what you're doing. You know, that's why you will see when I had my tent, I didn't have it quite under the trees. I had it next to the trees, but not quite under them. You know, as it was, we had those spiders come in. I had the spider out there. My son shat himself. He never went near the firewood after that. I wonder why. A big bloody tractor thing come out the size of his hand. That was just an ordinary bloody wood spider, that one. That's what they call it, just a wood spider. Hey, you get very sick if they bite you. You just go up all this bloody yellow phlegm and stuff. No really anti-venom for it. It's just, they give you antibiotics and stuff like that, and you're just sick for a few days, and you've got a big bloody lump where he bit you. And it's usually only the female. The male, he looks completely different. You wouldn't even know it was the same species. That's how different the male looks, but he's still pretty big too. He was like half her size, but he was very gangly, and he had yellow knobs where his bloody joints were. And she was more like a more like a funnel web spider. And they do come over here. they do come over. They've come over on trucks. They've actually migrated from the eastern states, and they're a very dangerous and scary spider because they're very aggressive. No, and there's actually two types. There's one, the regular type, and then there's a bit more bigger type, and they're very aggressive. That bigger type they've only just discovered over there in the eastern states about a year or so ago, or 2 years ago. Sometimes I forget. Memories in and out. All about. Yes. So, what do we do about this Mr. Epstein, this day? Well, you can't do nothing to him. He's supposed to be unalived, apparently. But with all this footage getting around, which doesn't look like it's fake footage, of his accomplice walking around with a brother. It's not the only place she's been spotted, you know. And the person they got in jail, her nose isn't even the same structure as the person that was supposed to be arrested. If that ever comes out, guys, you're going to see a collapse. So you've got to get ready. And I'm not joking. Water, you've got to have plenty of water in your house. No, not just turn the tap on. Have water. Make sure, they say not to eat processed foods. But, well, the way they have shelf life foods, you go out and you spend all that money on shelf life food, and it only lasts 2 days, and it's gone, it's rotten. You've got to eat it straight away. So you may have to get some tin products, but you'll be systematic in what you get. You got all the pickled products, pickled onions, gherkins, or no pickles. You can survive off that for a little while. You get ready. Technology. Technology is one of the last signs that Jesus is coming. And that's what we do. We're all over the world. Never thought I'd be like this. When all those guys in the history that Jag talks about, all those Jay-Z's, when they were first starting up, right? When I was a teenager back in the 80s and that, when they all first started, even before they had their names, when that genre was actually just starting up, getting out to the breakdance era and started getting to the rap era, right? And then NWA hit the scene, and that opened it up, a whole new ball game. And that's a fact. If NWA never hit the scene, this industry wouldn't be as like it is. Probably would have got there eventually, but it'd be a whole different ball game. They were just something, bang. Haven't heard someone come out swearing their box off before in a rhyme and allowed to be, they banned it. They hated it. They hated it so much over here. We loved it. We loved every second of it. It's crazy. And then you had all the rest of them come out. And of course, being a young one, I got into it, and I grew up with Disney and watching all the movies and go to movies. I used to like all that stuff. But it always seemed strange to me. Always had something in the back of my mind. Always reading these things long before it really come out full blast. There was always something strange about it. And then if you have a look at all the words that they sing in some of these songs, you've heard them ones where they play them backwards, like the Beatles. For one to play backwards is Dennis Roussos. You play his music backwards, and you hear a whole lot of devils worshipping, like you wouldn't believe. Really. And he used to be getting around like the big Greek god man, with his dress and all his women. He kind of reminded me of that Ron Jeremy, that porn star. Yes, that one. The dirty old bloody gollywog that we used to see all the time. How did that fat gollywog get in there, you reckon? If you're from the old days, you'd know everything about Debbie Does Dallas. She did everything but Dallas. Poor Dallas, she ended up getting knocked off. Yes, well, of course, I'm a man. In part, that he's seen dead things, they were cult bloody classics back in the day, but now we realise that they were just cults. Isn't that strange? Pornographic material, well, can be considered a sin. It's pretty evil. Lust of the eye. That's the one thing, I suppose, that we could adopt out of the Muslim belief into the new belief that Jesus is going to bring in. Because it ain't going to be Christianity. Because Jesus never called himself a Christian. The Romans, when they were getting invaded by the Muslims and the Persians, had to change with the times. So they got rid of their pagan beliefs and switched to Christian. And like I said, they kept that away from all the people, so they controlled the power. This man in the 14th century, he decided, well, I'm going to decipher that, but into English. He wrote a letter to the King of England. Then the King of England declared a new faith in Christianity. Now, so that the Romans, who originally wanted to hide it from everyone, so they wouldn't look like the bad guy, they rewrote things again. Make themselves look like the good guy. Like the Romans not hanging St. Peter upside down, which his name was Simon. And he was only given that name, St. Peter, by Constantine, a Roman emperor. He never took the name Peter. His name was Simon. Remember that? So what story and what narrative are we running? You can quote, if you're going to have people like, I'm going to end up interviewing that Andrew Wilson. I'm getting his attention, and I've got the way of doing it. And don't worry, I will. But with him, you have to quote certain things. Well, I just say, well, once you got God here and God here, it doesn't matter about the rest of that shit. Because he's with you everywhere. And when you understand that, that's what all those books are saying, no matter what way you want to fucking look at them. Other than that, there's just a book about the plight of the Jews. The First Testament, basically. And all the miracles that happens in that. And they go and done a bum deal with him. Didn't follow all that stuff that God did for him. Kept questioning God. Because it's their privilege, apparently. Which it is. Which it is. Right? They were God's favourite people. And Jesus came along from God's favourite people. A Jewish man himself. Half a man, half a God. But he's also a part Nubian. Because I don't tell you the true story. Mary, why did she not have a family? Where was her family? Why was she an orphan in the city? No, scrounging for food in every which way she could. She kept the virtue because she was a virgin. Because she was the product of a slave and a Jewish person. So she was half black. So Jesus, he was a quarter caste, if anything. So he would have had a very dark skin. Wouldn't have been white. Wouldn't have been like this colour. That's the fact. Wouldn't have even been this here brown tan. He would have been a lot more tanner. And that's a fact, guys. That's the fact. That's a fact. They don't tell you that part of the story. No, Russia's got the oldest paintings. What they have that they believe that Mary and Jesus looked like, and they're black. Okay? The skin is coloured black. I know that. But he must have been not totally black, because he passed as a Jewish man. Because they also don't tell you that all those so-called Jewish men that were against Jesus, all these holy men, they actually used to all sit down together with Jesus and debate which was the best way to pray, which was the best way God was. It was a debate about God. And he used to check them every time in everything that they did, because he knew their structure so well. And what he was bringing to the table, well, they would have accepted it, except God doesn't need money. Christianity has lied to you by monetizing it. Right? They're the most gold embroidery symbol places in the world. Those Catholic churches. Always got the best land. Always got the most Gothic looking buildings. Always got gargoyles. Go in there and they say, this is your Christ. Get him strung up, nailed up there. Still suffering. Right? The image. An image into your mind. This is what's going to happen to you. You don't behave. Right? And then they say they drink his blood by using the sacramental wine, which is a vampire. And then they eat the flesh with that little mint lolly or whatever, that little bit of bread that they give you, whatever which church use. Some just use mints nowadays. But that's supposed to represent his body, so that's the cannibal. And they give children that wine to drink, which is alcohol. And anyone under the age of 21 in America is not allowed to drink alcohol. Anyone under the age of 18 in Australia is not allowed to drink alcohol. Only in the church. The moment you walk out the doors, 100% illegal. Only one of those three things that you can actually do legally, but you've got to get someone to sign off on it. That's drink blood. Look it up online. People go out and get people to donate them a quart of blood in the fucking bag and get those signed off, and they drink it. They do. They do. No, they do. That's a fact. I think that's quite disgusting myself. I think there's something wrong with them. But some of them do. And it's a fact. And we've allowed to bend these laws to that person's thinking, which to us, drinking blood, saying to Nick, oh Nick, I need you to send me over a pint of blood because I want to drink it in my tea. Can you do that? Because I reckon you got the sweet blood. You know? How weird does that sound? Not right, isn't it? Doesn't sound normal. It's not right at all. You know? Not right at all. But that's what they do. That's legally allowed to happen now. So how far are we going to go with these delusionals? Delusional thinking. That's why people are allowed to get away with what they do. That's why people do get away with all this debauchery that we hear about. All this stuff about this Epstein. All what Jag talks about. People are watching. That's what this whole bloody bullshit that's about. We've got one eye, a look in what's happening, but they've got to keep blind to all else. Not just a single eye, there's got a whole lot of shit going on. That one there, the OK symbol like that, you know that one there? You know that means you got your hole. And when you're going like that there, that means you're getting tight because you're scared. You're tight like this one. You know? That's being silly now. Teaching my Aboriginal ways. An Aboriginal man can stare across the room to another Aboriginal man, especially if he knows them. Usually it doesn't, because usually we've got the same type of mannerism. We can have a whole conversation just with the flicker of the eyes. So when they say that you can communicate over a long distance, yeah, well, it's not like Crocodile Dundee 2 where they got the phone. We got that technology now. We're not that stupid now. We can evolve with the times. It was 1967. I wasn't born then, but we become man. I officially became a human being. You get that? And that's our country. We used to forget that. People were still alive. That were alive back then. I still know some men that have got the whip marks in their backs. And they really don't like, even get angry at me because of my color of my skin. You're too fair, I don't gotta talk to you. Sit in their way. Some are mental though. Some are mental. Crazy out there. The gift of love of blood is figured out. I'll stay and drink. Yeah, that's it. But there is conditions out there where you do need the blood transfer and transfusion. The ones that can't create their own hemoglobin and their own bloody things, and they need that. That's a fact. But that's only through medical procedures that we've worked that one out. And without those medical procedures, those people would have passed away. So medical science is good for some things. But to actually physically want to drink someone's blood when you've got no real reason for it other than your own lusts, well, that's evil. In all the senses. You know? In all the senses of things. No, Jesus, he would have told you that. Don't go around drinking blood, eating flesh. That's ridiculous. No, but that's what it is, and we get suckered in by this church. No, that's the fight between the Protestants and the Catholics. No, who was going to control the narrative? No, and the Protestants, when they brought their version out from England, well, they brought it out in the English version, and a lot of people could actually read a bit of English, right? And people started to read. Once people started to read God's word, they started to listen. They started to understand. Instead of sitting there as preacher man, I come in, you ever do this, Inquisition into the golden bull. The golden bull again, eh? And they're supposed to be holy men. Churches have got lots to answer for. It's all about power base. It's all about the purse. You know that purse that you see? It's all carved all over the world. They're wondering, what's this meaning behind this purse? You see all these Anunnaki, you see the Egyptians, you see the Aztecs and buddy in America and that. They all got this bloody purse, bloody carved purse thing. Well, that's exactly what it is. How fucking stupid. How stupid is the human race? It's the fucking purse. So that guy carrying that purse, he's obviously the treasurer. See, even they knew back then, right? Their religion, there has to be a treasury. That's the secret of religion, of man's religion on earth. See, God doesn't need money. He don't need a cent. He can just get the air like that and rub it together and make something. That's how powerful he is. But these churches have you believe that you will be going to hell unless you fund them with all your money. It's all about cash. It's an insurance game. They sell you insurance in the belief that God is going to keep your soul sweet if you keep their plate sweet. Keep signing those checks for them sweet. Keep showing up so they can indoctrinate your children and feed more lies into them. You know? Take the money out of religion, out of your churches, out of all your bloody synagogues, out of all your mosques, out of all your temples. Take the money away, and where would their God be? Where would their word be then? It'll be nowhere. Like I said, the only place it would be then is where they should be. Standing right here, on the street, next to us, waiting for Jesus to come. Putting him in here, putting him in here, watching around us for the evil, dealing with it. Dealing with it. God says nothing about that you can't really truly unalive someone if you necessarily need to defend yourself. There's a bit of a side clause. You just can't go outright and just unalive someone for no reason, for your own lust and vanities. But if you're in a dire situation and someone's trying to kill you, you defend yourself and you happen to unalive them, God will forgive you for that. You might have to ask a few more questions if you're a soldier and you're ordered to kill people. You've got to answer a bit different then. That's all. No? That's all. There's certain things that you could do in this world that you can't repent for. Touching kids. There's no repentance for that. You do not get let into heaven. No matter how much redeeming you do, no matter how much sorry you are, no matter whether you did a mistake and you've never touched a child again. You touch a child, that's the next generation, that's life. God doesn't like you messing around with the life, and that's it. So we might as well shift them along a lot quicker. They found out to be touching children, they should just forfeit their right for oxygen. No longer fucking oxygen. Put them in a room, suck all the oxygen out, and let them suffocate. Just like that. Sounds cruel, but it's not. You're not gassing them, so you're not giving them anything. You're not electrocuting them, so everyone can watch. Which is a cruel way of killing someone, I reckon. Unaliving someone through electrocution. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Right? What a terrible way to go. Then you got the hanging, firing squad. Nah. You want to do it, make sure proper. Have a chamber, put them in a chamber. Little drain in the middle of the floor, which is sealed off unit, just in case any fluids come out. And just suck the air out of the fucking chamber. And they're gone. That's how you get rid of them. They forfeit their right to breathe oxygen. Sounds cruel, but we can't be spending all this money on keeping them in jails, only for them to get out in 2 or 3 years, and they can't be touched. They're protected, given a house, given a placing, given money, allowed to walk around their kids again. There's been scientific tests done. And once they've gone that way, the actual white matter inside the brain increases. Right? And they've done a test on many pedophiles, worldwide test, and they've checked it. And the white matter in the brain grows more. There's more inside the brain when they're prone to being pedophiles or jomos. For YouTube's sake. Well, I'm not monetized, so they're not really gonna strike me. It's like Chloe reckons, the moment you get monetized, then I'm gonna have to sign anything I use of hers, because her image is money, see? But we might be able to get away with it. She can sign shit for me and sign that over, but that's another story. But yeah, once you get monetized, that's when they like striking you. Because I haven't been struck, but a few hiccups. YouTube's tried to stop me, but they never actually struck my channel or taken my channel down like they have for a week. I only did that about a year, almost 2 years ago. And they took me out for 7 days for wankers. And only other time is when I was actually, the police had my phone for this shit I got to deal with tomorrow. They had hold of my phone, so I had no way of contacting anyone. Until I used my brain. Hang on a sec. I used my daughters. See what I could do there. And I'm glad, Nick, you remember her name. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to communicate at all. And everyone would have thought, oh shit, he's just fucking left us. Well, I might have to do that. You just never know. But I won't be leaving you because it's bad things. I'll be leaving you because I've got to do the good things. No, I wouldn't leave you guys for any money in the world. I'm having too much fun. People might not say it that way. I know Jag would take a little bit of offense to that. But I'm having a lot of fun. I like fighting the bad guys. I like being the good guy. I do. And nothing in the world you can pay me to stop being the good guy. Look at that. Always, we're the underdogs, guys. We're the underdogs. And what do you always bet on? The bloody underdog, because he pays out the best dividends. It's fixed. You look at the Bible, it's fixed. Just like us guys, it's fixed. You read that Bible, aren't we all happy at the end after all the doom and gloom? Isn't it all smiles at the end? Eventually? So it's fixed. It's fixed, guys. Just like in fucking earth as it is in heaven. She's fixed. The old saying, heaven and hell are right beside each other. It's a family business. Souls, here's the cash. It's a family business. One signs you in. Well, he doesn't actually sign you in, but he's got a policy. You should have a drop of water on. Blesses you into the house of God. Right? And his son, Jesus. Right? You follow 10 basic rules, few side clauses, and you pretty much slip straight into heaven. Satan, he likes to sign you in. That's his contractual business, because he can't run his own, he can't run his dad's business. That's his dad's contractual system. Satan, he likes to sign you in. He also has his little handshake deals, which all angels could do that. All angels could do those handshake deals. Whether we honor them or not, it's another story. He likes to sign you in. Me, I promise you. Archangel Michael, the way he does things is he gives a promise to do things. And I promise to stay on Jag's side forevermore until that's it. Then that's what I'm going to do. Because I keep my promises. But those promises can only be made null and void by the people I promised to. Depends, Depends. I'm not saying it would ever happen, but in the end of the world, in the end of the day, guys, and I reckon Jag would kind of agree with this, even with partners and friends and loved ones aside, at the end of the day, I don't trust anybody. Not man, not woman, not beast. Certain amount of trust, but trust, you know what I mean? Because in today's society, the way things are, shit, people can turn on you so quickly. I found that crazy. But then again, I look back at the schoolyard and it was just like that too. You did something that the other kids didn't like, they all fucking turned against you very quickly. You had to do something reckless to redeem yourself in the eyes of your fucking fellow bloody students. It's always been like that. And it's always like that. And that's what this is kind of like online too. It's like Jag said, it's like kids that never really grew up. They just got older. Still being kids, trying to, I'm this, I'm that, but just playing the man, not being one. Nowadays, you go to a lot of these young ones now and you say, what have I got in my hand? And they'll look at you and it'll be a shovel, and they don't know what it is. Don't know which end to grab or anything. Crazy. But it's a fact. But you give them a digital shovel on that roadblocks, they'll be straight in. Then you got Fortnite. Well, have a look at that. Have a look at that. Epstein's favorite game, Fortnite. Same one that D4VD, David, groomed that, Celeste Rivera's Hernandez off of that game Fortnite when she was 11. Look at the history. She ran away when she was 12, right? So he groomed her for about a full year or so when she was 11. Ran away at 12. She's always been seen with him, right up until the beginning of that year. Her phone was active a little bit after. What happened to her arms and legs? They found the head and the torso. What happened to the rest of her? Where's the rest of poor Celeste? What did they do with that? Eat it? I believe so. See, if you're a cannibal, when you eat meat and it goes into your intestines, certain traces stay inside and stay there for years. All these people that have been implicated and have these cases, they should be tested. DNA testing of the intestinal tract. You'll find out whether they're cannibals or not. This is a fact. True fact. Can't quite entirely flush it from their system unless they use a special chemicals, a special medicine to clear their system out. Even if you've got that colonite to try and clear it out, it's still going to have a remnants inside your intestines. It's just the way it is. So, they can be tested. They can be tested indeed. But until we get the fool people come out and connect those code words we believe they are, well, it's just fucking hearsay. But Naomi Campbell, they're looking for her. She's got a bench warrant for her arrest. Trafficking women. For Epstein. That's strange. How about that? And she's around. And then you see her at every single fucking Diddy party. All around the world with Diddy. Some of the biggest fucking events. Naomi Campbell, Diddy, Naomi Campbell, Diddy, Naomi Campbell, Diddy. Like they're the best of buddies. The moment he got done, they all alienated from himself. Oh, I don't know him. Jay-Z, I don't know him. That was his best mate. You know? That's how the industry runs. Diddy was the pimp. He was the pimp. That's all it was. And they got really bloody, they'd gone demonic about it. Basically, at the end of the day, he's just a big pimp. But doing it to underage children, whatever else they was doing. I mean, yes, he never got done like that in court. Because you look at the bullshit there. You know? We hear all this shit. Fuck, whatever happened? What happened to all those tapes? Got to be something on them. They haven't given them back. No? I just keep going. Yeah, well. You know? You think about that. Think about that in a big mix. You know? We're becoming more wise, some of us, to the bullshit that they're trying to push on us. And we know it's bloody bullshit, but they still try to feed it to us. Alright? They still try to feed it to us. It's like you go through the Epstein list and how he's talking to all these bigwigs in the pharmaceutical industries and all that there and all these governments about putting that virus in and stuff like that there. And he's going to put a bit of himself into a virus mix and into a bloody antivirus mix, and everyone's going to get a bit of him inside him. So, you know, when I was listening to J.D. DeLay when he was doing that, and that frightened the shit out of me. I said, oh, J.D., please don't go. You mean we got one of his swimmers swimming around inside of us? And you reckon, You think about that. You think about that. Think about it. Think about it. What was in those needles they give us for the COVID shot? Was it one of his swimmers in there or not? You think about that. Think about how filthy they are. I wouldn't put it past them. You know? Wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, make you feel like going to have a fucking wash. Scrub yourself like you've been raped. I did. Don't put that thought into my mind, please. No. But we don't know what they give us. I mean, people have got, myself, I got blood clots in that, from that shot. No, most bloody killed me. Bloody pricks. No swimmers in me, that's for sure. Yeah, but in your blood, swimming around in the blood. That's terrifying. Fucking hell, that'd be real terrifying if that come out, I tell you guys. I guarantee if that come out, you'll be saying, oh, watch, why did you tell us this? It fucking was real. But we don't know what they put in that shit. And anyone that got an injection, you know, some people didn't have a side effect. Some people did. Now, being an Aboriginal man, they said, oh, use the bloody, the Pfizer. Don't use the AstraZeneca. because it gives blood clots to your people. So I had the Pfizer and I still got fucking blood clots anyways. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't really matter. And then 6 months down the track, they said, oh, you're right now to have that other one. Like, fuck. I haven't jabbed me again. I got the normal common flu one, but even then we still don't know what's in that. All I know is I haven't really had the flu, like a real runny nose or anything like that, like I used to, for years. So it must be doing something. No, the other injections I had was when you're an Aboriginal man, once you get over the age of 45, right, they do checks on you, and you have fluid built up, especially if you've been a smoker. You know, we just had that little bit of a problem. You need an injection when you get to 50, so I've had that injection. That's to stop you from getting pneumonia and too much fluid build up. Just a little problem that we have when you've got indigenous blood in you. No, we used to have a life expectancy that we wasn't living older than 55, tops. And most of them were unalive by the age of 40. It's crazy. No, through modern science and that, now we're getting couples having their 50th anniversaries. We're getting oldies living to ripe old 80, 90 years of age. No, in the Aboriginal community, it's kind of rare to see very, very, very old ones, unless they're full blood, right? For some reason, and there's not many of them left, and they can be really old. Some of them look like they dust themselves, but yes, you know, the life expectancy, and only through modern science and technology and that, and medical, well, our life expectancy has increased. It's all about the food and the diet we eat. I mean, most of the Aboriginal people today, believe it or not, most of them don't even eat kangaroo. You give them a bit of kangaroo, they say, oh, that's too gamey. I like beef. Cityized. They won't go and chase things now. Very rarely that happens. It's only certain groups to do that. Some do. No, but most of them don't. Most of them are just like everyone else. No, especially the ones in the city and that. They just, just people, citizens. People. That's what we are. It's crazy. You got all these different arguments about race and color around the world, and yet I could take you secretly into the drug circles, right? And you'll see how all the races and colors get along when drugs is involved. No one's got a problem. They're all sitting there fucking getting out the same spoon. You know? But to take that situation out and they're all supposed to be enemies again. How does that work? No? That's strange. I find that's very strange. See, in the group of young ones we grew up with, we had all the different cultures, and that was something that the rest of the gangs, like the Gosnells area and all of them, they didn't know how to handle that because they liked staying in their racial gangs. And we had the upper hand, see? Because we didn't give a shit what color you was as long as you was a true person. And you was honest, and that was it. And of course, don't dob anyone into the cops. That was the golden rule. That's wrong to say that, but it is the golden rule. You live in an area, if you know, and grown up with a couple of rough guys, and you've grown up with that golden rule, the street rule, where you don't knock on anybody, right? And you break that, well, they come around and break your legs. And every time you step out the door into the area, and then they say, oh, that's that dog cunt. And they'll fucking want to fight you all the time, and you got it forever, ever. And you got to end up moving and stuff like that. So, but if you were actually a good person all the way through, you wouldn't cop that shit. That's one thing. We might have been rough, might have been a little bit criminal based in the drugs and that when we were younger, but we always had respect for older people and the common man. It was only other gangs and other badasses that we used to go and have problems with. We never had a problem with the common man. The moment you start dealing and playing around with the common man, well, that's when you get locked up by the police. Similar to the bikies code. Real bikers, devout ones, right? They don't really mess with the common man unless they've done something really bad towards the club. Okay? Because if you mess with the common man, the police will come down on you very heavily. So they go around muscling all these other groups. And that's what they're really good at. You know? Simple as that. But they can't even function properly here now. We've made that many laws. Can't wear the patches, can't wear this. They still got the gangs and that, of course. The biggest bloody biker gang in this state is the rebels. The rebels. Funny. I had a bit of a fallout with them guys, and then they left me alone, see, because in their code, I'm what you call a rogue. And I actually owned the black four-wheel drive at the same time, so, and what a rogue would do, a rogue will have a problem with one of these bikers, even though it's a gang, and he uses the gang to back him up. But that rogue, he'll come around the corner when they're doing a bikie run, when there's 120 of them in a row going down a road. And a rogue, he'll come around the corner at 140 kilometers an hour in a black four-wheel drive and wipe the fucking lot out. And just plow straight through the fucking lot. That's what a rogue would do. You know? So they don't fuck with rogues either. They don't. I mean, if you had to fight at the pub, yeah, that's different. But they don't fuck with rogues if they're going to do that revenge bullshit. That's a fact. People talking away. I'm glad you're talking. That's good. Use the time, talk up. You don't have to listen to me. I just banter on. You know? About life. You know? But that's just the way it is. But it's good. Because it creates a safe platform for us to talk. You know? I don't know, everyone likes talking. No one likes to be alone. No, sometimes when I do this live, when I get no one, I still persist, because if you persist, you're no failure. If you keep trying, you're no failure. But I still get pretty disheartened sometimes when you don't get anyone pop in. At the beginning, if you look at way back in my lives, and when that used to happen, I used to get very angry and narky at the end. But now I've learned it's not all about that. It's about persistence. About trying to fight the system that keeps us down. And YouTube is just one of these places. And I can go on to all these other places. I surely can. My TikTok account is monetized. I've never drawn the money out there. Something like about $500. Oh, this is going to run out, is it? Because it's got the light going. No more microphone. No more echo. Well, there's enough echo here. I'm sure you can hear me loud enough without the speaker. Well, you're on longer than what I thought. Just notice the time, 1:31. Must be having fun. You know, that's the most likes I've had in a while. And that's why I'm having fun. People are here. And whether you're listening to me or talking to each other, I don't really mind. I really don't. I'm not one of these fucking stars that likes to be bloody famished with fucking love. A little bit of love's right. I got it there, 9 loves. That's good. That's really nice. But it's not all about that. It's all about just not being alone, I guess. And it's a pain in the ass. Some days I sit here, once the bloody kids dropped off school, it's fucking, I don't talk to anybody. So that's when I see Jag or someone going on, just jump straight on it. It's like, wow. Once I do my daily tasks and what I have to do. Yes, what I have to do, work I have to do. Very hard. It's got to do about finances, not so much going out to do the work. You need the money to be able to get out there. I've got other things on my mind too. Other people, one person in particular. But But that's going to be alright. I know, hopefully, I will get to see that person before the time goes on when I won't be able to. And that's been arranged, so hopefully that goes well for me in the next few months. I had to put back on my technology. A few things have come up money-wise, and I had to spend the money on that, so I got delayed by for another 6 months, so that's all right. Did I get my money back yet? Oh, not really. Oh, here we go. Okay, so speaking of the devil, there's Chloe right there. The big money, wow. The big money, wow. We'll see. We will see. They come out in the wash. Last chance for some people. Oh, well, that, yeah, well. The big money, yeah, well, we'll see. We will see. We will see. Things like that totally wipe someone out. You know? But I'm not like that. I've already done it and made a fortune off of that. Others have. But I'm just not like that. Not with that one anyway. Oh, this battery's getting flat. Everything's going wrong for me now. Chloe's talking and I'm getting into the chat. The battery's going flat. Wait up. Let's do this. I'm sorry, Mr. Right. First things first. Sort this phone out. Now we've got where's this way? I just talk to this Chloe, just tell her I'm still live. Still live. Okay. Oof. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes it blanks out when I do those messages. Yes. Just strange that. She's always up around about this time, but she was up before. She got up early. She reckoned she couldn't sleep last night, and she got up early, and that's it. She was speaking to me, and then I went on to that Brian's chat with that whatever channel, where he's got all them girls, and he's buddy, and Gorlak the Destroyer. Yeah, well, I've been doing that for a long time, Nick. There's reasons why she can't, you know. No, there's reasons. There is reasons. It's not just monetized reasons and that. There's well, she's got the boyfriend, you know, and he doesn't like me. If you know what I mean. But yes, we'll see how we go. But don't worry, things are in the mix, and things are being set this time. I'm actually going to go forth. No one can turn around or do the wrong thing, see, in a few months. And we'll see how we go then. Everything will be redeemed in a sort of way. As hard as that is. Still has to be a bit of sacrifice, you know. But you get that. You get that in the big mix. As long as I get what we have planned this time, well, that's that. And that'll be great. It would be great. And not costing me a thing this time. And that's a fact. That's a good fact. Because it's cost me enough already. Enough time, enough anguish, and money. You know? Money is always hard to come by. And when you get your heart set on something and you change yourself and do something and it doesn't accumulate, well, you get let down and lose faith in people. But that one, well, that particular one, well, with the time for that one, there's reasons. Can't really explain, but there's reasons. It's not easy being Archangel Michael. It's not easy dealing with an advocate, too. Fucking devil wears Ferrari, Dick. He really does. Shit. Christ. Well, it's like when it comes to money, people just can't be. Well, that's another thing. Honesty. Being honest. Making a promise to someone and they're not keeping it. You know? A lie is a lie. Whether it's a white lie, a black lie, a brindle lie, or a rainbow-coloured lie, it's still a lie. It's like a hole. No matter what size you dig it, it's still a hole. You can't escape that fact. It's only the dimensions and the parameters that are different. But it's still a hole, like a lie is still a lie. And we all white lie. You know? We bloody do it before we even check ourselves sometimes. Not all the time. We've all done it. We've all said, no, we didn't take that biscuit with all the crumbs coming down our mouth. You know? Wasn't me. You know? But people seem to think they could just white lie their way through everything. And these younger ones, this shits me to no end. I want to fucking snap the cunts in half when they're like this. They just turn around and ignore you like nothing ever happened. And it just doesn't sink in. You can say, I need you to clean up this floor and ground here and that because you're the one that made the mess. Just turn around and fucking walk off in their own bloody world. And you can't go and attack them or do anything to them because they'll turn around and go, oh. And then you're the one in trouble. You're the aggressor. You're the bad guy. Fucking when do we get to such a world like that where people are just not going to be responsible for their bullshit, their white lies, their own messes? And that's what's happening. It's part of this delusional thinking. No? I mean, it is. It's just totally delusional to have a man, wearing a pink boob tube, saying that he's bloody South Korean non-binary when clearly he's speaking a British accent and he's a bearded, fat British man. But by law, we say that to him, he'll be offended. We can be arrested. It's like in this country. I always thought you had to be 10 years of age before you can before you're sound of mind. This is what they say. The child has to be at least 10 years of age for their sound of mind to be able to make a decision where they want to be. So a child can actually get its own lawyer at the age of 10 in Australia. But then again, you had this 9-year-old wanting the sex change. And the parents took the kid there to the doctor and that. And the doctor said, no, I refuse to give anyone under a certain age that sort of drugs. And because in this country here is like full woke, he lost his license to practice because he refused to ruin a 9-year-old's life. So how does that 9-year-old know what they want to be when the study behind fucking when you go to law, they've got to be at least 10 to have a sort of brain to work out what they even is or where they want to go. So how does that work? You know? It's like one law for one and one law for fucking another. Just making it up as you go. That poor doctor can't practice no more because he fucking saw sense in it. I have no problem. If you want to transgen, that's what you want to do. But it should be at least you've got to be over 17 before you even start to touch those drugs. You've got to go through puberty first and let that happen. And you'll find out once you've gone through that puberty first, you'll transit a lot better. You've got all these ones that are doing it while they're still young and they're running up to bloody Trump's houses with guns and fucking all kinds of shit, shooting kids and unaliving all these people and going nuts, sitting on top of buildings and killing Charlie Kirk because he was upset that his boyfriend was a transgender. I mean, really? We let that run, guys. And you wonder why there's so much calamity and fucking we allow crazy to run. Crazy's allowed to run free. Delusions allowed to run free. Thought patterns like that, they're allowed to run free. And people are making money from the side. They don't give a shit. Those plastic surgeons, those pharmaceutical companies, they're pumping those drugs out by the fucking millions. And they're raking in the millions too. They don't give a shit what they deform you into. Because that's what you're going to be doing. It's like my father said to me. He said to me when I was 13 years old when I learned this about homosexuality. Because I was going through the stage of being a teenager myself. I couldn't quite explain to him what happened to me. Because I know he's had the same thing happen to him. He told me about a few things that happened to him when he was a child. No, I never told him anything about the things that happened to me. But we could relate. And well, he says, I feel sorry. And he was also a proper, fully qualified mental health officer. Through Curtin University. And he said, look, Michael, when it comes to homosexuality, that's what they all are. Whether they be gay or lesbian or whatever, or bisexual. It's like a homosexuality. That's one word, he says, covers it all. They said they got their names. But, that's just one word that covers it all. The homosexual community. Says all this fucking LGBTQ fucking bullshit. Trying to name yourselves. Fuck that. That's it. No? He says, no, truly, he says, you've got the ones that, they're all lesbian. They don't want to transit and turn into a man. Some might. A lot of them don't. And then you got males, you got the old fag, who still dresses up as a male, but it's gay. And then he says, and then you got these ones trying to transcend. And he said, out of them all, that's the ones I feel sorry for the most, Michael. I said, why is that, Dad? And he says, well, because they're never really going to truly achieve what they want. Okay? And at the end of the day, they're just actually mutilating themselves. That's what the science and the medical behind it really is. He said, and I feel sorry for him. I actually feel very sorry for him, he says, because I hope they had actually achieved that, because some of them truly, truly believe that is what they are. And I've seen people like that. I know people like that. Men that truly believe that they're a woman. I've seen some that you'd actually think they were too. Crazy. Scary. I find no fault in what people do. It's just what they are and who they are. That's the difference. That's where I find my prejudice. It's not about what you're into or what you do, what your preference is, what your understanding is. It's about you as a person, how you treat me. You treat me like shit, well, I'm not going to like you, are you? If you're going to dribble crap and fucking be delusional, well, I'm not going to bloody abide to that either. Just because the law says that we have to, I don't want to abide by anyone's delusion because I'm just helping someone be crazier when I know the truth. One day, maybe, thousands of years in the future, they may be able to achieve what they want to do. As my father said, man is ingenious. We can do a lot of things. We could work it out. But do we really need to? What's the point of that? There's a natural order to things. And when we start trying to break the natural order, well, we're trying to break the word of God. There's one thing God doesn't want us to do is try and topple his order. And that natural order of bloody nature is not so much put in place by God, but he has to protect it. Because that keeps life flowing, especially on this planet. This planet spews life. You go out there and grab a bit of sand from any of these other planets, put water on it, oxygen and all that, fuck all happen. You do that to a bit of ground outside and out here, and you have plants and that start growing. Something will grow. Microbes will be in it. Life is absolutely bursting on this little pearl. Nowhere in the universe is there so much diversity of life. You know? And God has to protect that. And if this really, really is the only bit of life out there, we've got to protect it even more. You know? We've got to protect it even more. That's the thing. And God, he has to protect life. Because without life, there'll be no one to call him God. And then what will he be then? He'd be alone. And nobody wants to be alone. And God has built us in his image. He built us like him. In his image, he built us. So we have the same ability, same mind and power. As we go through time and become wise and learn how to use it correctly, we can do things, miracles, like he does. Just we don't topple him. We can't build the Tower of Babel. Can't topple him. Can't go follow on the bad guys. No, God's got a plan for the live ones down here, but he's got a plan up there too. You know, the cycle, just because you pass on and go to heaven, got to remember, there's still got to be live ones down here. There's still got to be life. So that life's always got to go on. So insurance policies are put in place. And one insurance policy I've got to put in place. So no matter what happens, once it's in that place, Satan himself can unalive every single microbe. But there's one creature you would never be able to unalive, and that's the pale horse Nunjan. And once I do that with that, that's it. That determined that whether we are alive or not, the mission is to make sure life lives. Okay? You really want to know the mission? It's got nothing to do about fucking humans. It's got to do about life itself. Satan wants to unalive life itself. Every fucking thing. And redo it in his own image. Then he can be the God. That's what the whole game's about. Right? That's what it's all about. It's about life itself. And whether that life's a jellyfish in the fucking ocean or a microbe on a fly's ass, it's still life. Right? So we could wipe the human race out completely. Don't give a shit about that. God cares about life. Right? Only time when we say things are a calamity is when people's lives are involved. But that same coastline, if no one was living there and got hit by a tsunami, still has the same damage. There's no lives lost, so it's not a tragedy. It's only a tragedy to us because we humans see it that way. But it's just life. You look at it like this here, right? And this sounds very cruel, but you've got to work it out. This is how your hierarchy actually thinks too. They don't give a shit whether they unalive 10,000 people a day because they know they can breed them up. You see that one? So when they go to war, they don't give a shit how many die, really. They're going to complain and propaganda and make you feel sad. They're the bad guy. But in the end, they don't care. They'll send 10,000 off to be wiped out because they know they're breeding them back home. We're at a population part in this earth here. We've got 8 billion people. Fuck, we could lose 300 million. We'll make them up in 9 months. Okay? That's how quick we can come back. We're overpopulated. They move us around like fucking cattle. We all get moved around like cattle one way or another. We get a semblance that we've got our own little life fucking running. But we don't. Because even this fucking money we got in our pocket belongs to the bloody government. No? That's why they don't want people fucking stashing gold too much. There's a bit of a limit on how much gold you can stash in your own house, even if you look into it. And all the gold's all bloody goes through the bloody Perth Mint here. It's all fucking, yeah, a monopoly on it. No? Old gold standard. That's what Gaddafi was going to do. He had bloody 14 tons of the shit. He was going to start off the money currency in the African dollar and would have superseded the American dollar by twice as much. American dollar would have got blown out the water. They couldn't have that. So they go and lend this group $200 million. They go and buy themselves French weapons so the USA can't be signified as part of that. And they took Gaddafi out. Oh yes, Gaddafi was a bit of a tyrant. Yes, he was. A little bit. But he also had a policy how he was going to bring Africa into his own. You know? Think about that. Africa's supposed to be the cradle where most civilizations started and all that there. Well, how come most of them are sanctioned by all these overseas countries? There's nothing to do with fucking Africa except taking the shit out of it. You know those blood diamonds they carry around, those blood diamonds? Guarantee your governments will put their fucking hand out and take them nonetheless. They seized those blood diamonds. Where do they go when they're seized? They don't fucking destroy them. Who gets that money? Who's your biggest dealers in the world? Governments. What do they deal? Pharmaceuticals and advertisement. They advertise you the bullshit to say they've got a semblance that they got everything under control, when really they fucking got nothing under control. They're under control. And I tell you now, Naomi Campbell, I reckon they reeled her in because they want her to speak, to save her ass. She wants to save her ass. That's the one. We even said that to Jags. Jags even said, oh shit, the shit that woman would know would fucking topple the whole house of cards. But they're coming for her. That house of cards is going to topple. I'm here right now. You might not believe it, so some of you do. That's good because you're right. Trust me. Not easy to know, be intelligent like I am, to say this to people and say, yeah, right, you're not the fucking Archangel Michael, get serious. I mean, look, I'm wearing a mask and all that there, but there's reasons for that. It's got to do with this AI and stuff. Plus, people like it. You're all used to the statue, so I give you a fucking statue. You want to go after images? You got it. Right? Simple as that. Simple as that. Imagery. Yes. Well, been on for nearly 2 hours. That's been really good. Hopefully I'll get these bloody watch hours up. That's what I want to do. If I get this bloody to that monetized state, well, it'd actually be a lot less stressful. It really would. You know, a little tiny bit of income coming in to help run it, make it worth bloody, worth its own while, build itself. That's where I can get my rest of my technology. Because money is hard to come by. Very hard to come by. When you're a 50-year-old man, doesn't matter what qualifications you got, they always want to employ someone younger with the same experience. So how do you work that out? And I don't like the way you've got to look for jobs now. It's ridiculous. You used to be able to go walk into a business and ask for a job. You know? Ring them up on the phone. Now it's all done by email. And half of them, well, actually, out of 100 emails you send to jobs, you might get 2 responses back saying, no, there's no job for you here. The rest won't even fucking contact you. It's the most faceless way, terrible. I myself suffer fucking anxiety and frustration from that type of job search. Because you really like a job, you see it there, you apply for it, and you really want it. And you fucking don't get it. Whereas back in the day, you used to go there and present yourself and present yourself. Make yourself look like you're a fucking worker, you know? Talk the talk, walk the walk. Sell yourself a bit to get that job. Now they just look through it, and they go onto your fucking Facebook and see that there. And because I have no social media other than YouTube and TikTok, they're not going to find a record man because I don't have Facebook and that. Oh, well, we can't employ him. Why is that? Because we can't fucking find out about him. No shit. I refuse to get that Facebook and all that crap. Come on now. I'd get kicked off of that shit very quickly. Surprised I don't get kicked off of YouTube like I do actually. You know, people do get kicked off of YouTube and that for doing things, but I've been more attacked on bloody TikTok. For some of the things I could do here on YouTube, can't do that on TikTok. You know, there's the meat market there, and all these other ones, well, you know. Don't know. Everyone's experience is different, I guess. Yes. But I like YouTube. Because if you go and look into it, no matter what channel or platform you go to, YouTube is the biggest platform in the world for families and children. Right? Biggest one in the world for information. It's the most watched one in the world. You know? And I met all you guys here. So it can't be that bad. I met a lot of good people online. Really good people. Some people I actually like to meet in the physical. You know? And become real friends. You know, but yeah. So it is good in that factor. But it's also, with that coming, making friends online, well, as you know, it can turn so quickly. You might say something wrong that everyone doesn't agree with, just like back in the schoolyard. And then you're the fucking troll. You know what I mean? It's terrible. I know I've nearly slipped up a few times. Didn't have my friend Nick there helping me, give me the old poke. Fucking old Nick, he would have been cut right out the family. Regardless whether he had fucking Archangel or not. But that's everyone's prerogative. Okay, have a beer with you, yeah, that'd be the great thing. Have a beer and maybe a little puff on the green tobacco. That's the same, that's what I want to do with this bloody Chloe Roma. Sit there, play some video games, have some fun, and smoke a fucking joint. That'd be crazy. That'd be great. You know? It's not nothing to do with bloody touchy-feely stuff. It's just about becoming good friends and having a good time. It's sharing a common experience. And that's it. More like brother and sister, I guess. Well, it has to be. Has to be. People whose virtues need to be kept. And that's the fact. Unfortunately. But you get that. You get that in the big mix. I worked out, well, it's worth it. It's worth doing what I do. I like doing, like I said, I actually enjoy doing what I do online here. For the family, for all you guys, for Jag, for Odell. I really enjoy it. Because it's the good side. It's the good team. It's the good fight. And it's worth every single second of it. And yes, if I'm going to do something, like I say, if you're going to do something at school, make sure you try and enjoy it. Going to get a job, make sure you enjoy it. Yeah, well, it's not always that way, but I enjoy this. I enjoy giving people that little bit of hope, enjoy being that protection shield, and enjoy being who I am, Michael the Archangel. For the first time in my whole life, actually, I can be myself, other than the voice. But you get that. It's got to be a bit of a show. God likes a show, guys. He wants to see the sequel. And it's got to be better than the fucking original. And the original, what happened there? Jesus got strung up. Wasn't very good. Had a few seas get parted. You know what I'm saying? A couple of people walk on water. God's seen all that shit, so you got to see something fucking more reckless than that. This time he's going to walk on water, but on his butt cheeks. Yeah, that'll be fucking something. Gotta say, shit, son. You fucking really outdone yourself this time. All right, you fucking win. Just like that. I like that show. But it's true. God's just like us. And he wants the sequel to be better than the original. Otherwise, what's the point? You know? God's like that, you know. You've got to look at it this way. Jesus is his son, and Lucifer is his son. Which son does he favour? Usually in a hierarchy situation, it's the firstborn. Well, that's Lucifer. He was supposed to ascend to the throne. He still is supposed to ascend to the throne. He's got a chance to do that, you know. No father wants their son to fall. And that includes God. So somewhere along the line, he's hoping he boy might turn around. But I doubt it. I doubt it. So that's why he now puts it through the other son, Jesus. They now will send for him. And eventually, Jesus will take over. When God decides he wants to go and have his sleep and his hibernation. That's how it's supposed to be. No, Lucifer, like fucking, like they got over there in England. The son wants to have his time before the father's finished. They're playing the same thing here on earth, that family. They really are. That's why they alienate and distance themselves from Andrew, because they will be implicated in all the shit that they're doing. And all the bloody bloodletting and child eating and stuff that they do. And I will say that, and that's not allegedly. The whole royal family are cannibals. So the Rothschilds, so a lot of the rich families, cannibals. They've been eating humans for hundreds of years. They've been at the top. Go into your history, have a look at all your monarchs, and all your kings and all your leaders throughout the histories, and have a look how filthy, how disgusting, how depraved, how diseased, and how they died. Fucking rotting away, dying of their arsehole falling out, gangrene on the face, all because they indulge in the sexual pleasures. There you go, have a look. Tell you about how some courts, especially in France, one queen there, she actually got everyone all the urine, and even got this bloody flour to fucking colour it, and put urine, and made a whole lake of urine, and used to drown any unbelievers in the urine. And she reckoned her urine was divine from God. She used to make people drink it. The moment they drank it, they died of septicemia. That's how fucking filthy your leaders have been. Filthy, stinking, and debaucherous. And the ones we have in power, well, I don't believe they're any different. And if they're not, well, they're just a front for the real people that control the world. It was not your governments. It's the pharmaceutical companies and the advertisement companies. Because who advertises your government when they want to get into power? Fucking advertisement companies. Rupert Murdoch, one stage of the game, owned 80% of the world's fucking media. He could fucking turn any election in any country he wanted through his media power. You even see it on The Simpsons. He rocks up there and says, I'm Rupert Murdoch, tyrant billionaire. What are you doing in my box? You're not Rupert Murdoch. There's a little bit of a call, and all the fucking players stop playing the game and go, hi, Rupert. And that's fucking power. Same thing again. NFL. Simpsons had them in there too, tracking you with those radars. When old Bart went fucking crazy and stole the tank and shot the satellite out of the sky. They come down, they're fucking watching us, marketing us, 100%. I mean, what was that fucking, what was his name, Bad Baby or whatever the fuck he is, Bad Boy Bobby, on the fucking halftime thing, and he wasn't singing a single syllable of fucking Spanish or whatever he was supposed to be singing. So I want that full translation of what that demonic fuck sung and what type of curse he put us under. Because if he did, the only way you can reverse that curse, you've got to take him back out to that field and slit his throat and bleed him out. That gets rid of that curse. Want to fucking deal with magic, and magic, that's how you deal with it. Right, he's the one that fucking performed it. Well, he's the one that can unperform it with his blood. That's a fact. That's what I'd do to him. That's what I would do to him. I'm not joking. That's what I want to do to him. He fucking subjected the whole world to a demonic fucking seance. We don't know what he's done to us. What he's done to me. What he said at all. I want a full transcription of what he fucking said. And then if there's fucking anything demonic in it, we slit his throat back on the same oval. Now we'll get rid of that little curse. Told you. Start going around these celebrities that you think the fucking bloody witches and that, with fucking some holy water or some blessed fucking holy salt, and fucking chuck it on them. And you watch them burn and shrivel like fucking acid, if they really are. If they're not, well then they're full of shit. Not a bunch of fucking kids playing seance. Fucking war. Should be my way, guys. I'm the angel of war. Me, I'd crack skulls. I'd just drag them out in the street, fucking curbs, put their mouth on the fucking curb like that there and get in the back of the head, all over. Just like that. Because that's what we're going to end up doing. Keep telling people. Those Simpsons predictions, all of them come true. After Trump, America's got a big deficit. You have a female president. And she's hunting all the fucking celebrities down. All of them. Shoot first, don't ask questions. So it's a shoot first policy. Not even round them up to fucking take them into fucking jail. That's what we're going to find out, how sick and depraved and how evil they are. You know, that's pretty sick. But it's coming. Coming, you're gonna be shocked. The world's gonna be in uproar.